Okay, good morning. Today's daf is Chav Gimel, Chav Daled. We're up to Chav Gimel on the base, about 15 lines from the bottom. Shevuous lo yochel. So the Mishnah had said, if a person makes a shvua not to eat, and then he eats something that's not roi for him to eat, that's not roi la'achila, that's not roi l'shtia, you'd be potter. You'd be potter. Then in the same vein, it says, you make a shvua not to eat nevelis trefish, shkatzim ramashim, yechayev. So I would assume that shkatzim ramashim, nevela are all things that are not roi la'achila. So the first part says yipata, because it's not a barachila, and the second part says yechayev. So in the Mishnah, minei ubei seems to go ahead and be slicer itself. Says the Gemara, hagufa kasha. The Mishnah itself is shver. Amit, you said Shevuous lo yochel v'achal oichlin shein ruin la'achila v'shasim mashkin shein ruin l'shtia pater v'hadatani. In the same breath, you learn Shevuous lo yochel v'achal nevelas trefish katzim ramashim chayiv. Maishna reisha, where you made a shua not to eat, that you're going to be pater, not to eat something that's not right. It's not right to eat. Maishna seifa, and why? When you eat nevelas and trefish katzim ramashim chayiv. Again, you make a shvua not to eat, and you eat something that you shouldn't eat, such as ein roi la'achila. Our assumption is ein roi la'achila means what? Means shkatzim or ramashim nevelos u'treifis, your partner. Then it says openly, if you make a shvua not to eat nevelos u'treifis, shkatzim or ramashim, and you eat the nevelos u'treifis, shkatzim or ramashim, yechayev. So what's the difference? It says more like kasha, it's not shver. Reisha, the Reisha is speaking bistam. Is you just said it made a shua not to eat, and then you ate those things, and since they're not usually right to be eaten, therefore what? You are potter. The seifa b'mefarish, and the seifa is what? Is you said openly. In other words, in the Reisha I made a shua I'm not going to eat. In the seifa I said I made a shua not to eat shkotzim u'mashim ve'los u'treifis. You hear this? I make a shua not to eat, and I eat them, I'm potter. I make a shua not to eat those specific things, and I eat them, yechayev. That's the way we're answering the Mishnah. However, that lends itself to a big question. We are mushba v'oimed me'ar Sinai that we cannot eat nevelos and treifis. Ein shvua chalal shvua. So if I made a shvua by Sinai not to eat nevelos and treifis, shkatzim ramashim, how can I not make it? And now you're saying the fire should make a shvua. You be over on the shvua. There is no shvua. That second shvua should not be chal. Because why? I'm already previously what? Mushba from Har Sinai not to eat nevelos treifis, shkatzim ramashim. So you answered the kasha in the Mishnah, but your teretz leads itself to another kasha. How can you say that you're chayav for eating nevelos and treifis? There is no shvua. Ain't shvua chalal shvua. Okay, now we've been down this road before. Okay. And we're getting into the Issa Koil. This is the main sugya over here. Says the Gemara, the Seifim fire. Feishnami gufa tikshi amai mushba matzinai who? And for the Gemara, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan, the Amri Kulo, the Koilel devarim hamutarim in devarim asurim. I made the following shvua, fellas. I said the following: I'm not eating nevelos, treifis, shkotzim, uramashim, ushchutais. Now, the shvua is chal on shchutais. It's chal on geshachtana meat. Since the shvua is chal on that, it's koilel. It will incorporate the shkatzim ramashim nevelos and treifis. Therefore, that's pshat in the Mishnah. The Reish that said your pata is speaking where you just said shvua shlo yochel. The seifa is you were firished. You said shkatzim ramashim, but in addition you said something else. You said shchutais. V'balt now the shvua is chal on the shchutais. Who adin it's chal on the veils and treifis, and therefore I be chayiv. That's called issa koilel. I'm koilel in something that was usher before. I'm koilel with something that was mutter, and now becomes usher al yedei my shua. Reish Lakish amar iyat ha'moitza ella im mefarish chatzi shir v'aliba derabanan ibistam aliba derakiv. Okay, what does Reish Lakish say, fellas? Machloikis yedua mesechta yuma is machlokes where the chatzi shir is asa deraisa, asa derabanan. Rabbi Yochanan says asa deraisa. Reish Lakish says it's asa derabanan. So here's the case: you made a shvua not to eat. It's not speaking about Yisrael. It's speaking about you made a shvua not to eat the full shir of shkotzim or ramashim. not to eat the full shear shkatzur mashim. According to the Chachamim, the shear of a shvua is a kazayis. Therefore, I had to be mafarish what I won't eat a chatzi shear of shkatzur mashim. I'm not mushba ba'oimid hamasinai from according to Reish Lakish on chatzi shear, only on a full shear. Memela the shvuas chal. Since it's not a full shear, I'm not mushba ba'oimid me'asinai, so the shvuas chal, and therefore I be chayiv. Who holds that what that you need the full shear? That's the chachamim. So you would have to be mafarish openly in your shvua to say I'm making a shvua not to eat chatzi shear shkatzim u'mashim. Like Rabbi Akiva we saw in the Mishnah, since shvua you're creating the issa, you do not need the shear of a kazayas. Just by saying a shvua I won't eat shkatzim u'mashim is a kol shehu. You chayiv in a kol shehu. A kol shehu is less than what? I'm not mushma on a kol shehu. So it says the Gemara like the following. According to Reish Lakish, here's the way you'd answer it. Iyata maitza, that you chayiv on a shvua of shkatzim u'mashim, el imem farish bechatzi shear v'aliv d'rabbanon. Like the rabbanon, you'd have to be farish chatzi shear, because again, they hold the full shear as the kazayis. Oy bestam aliv d'Rabbi Akiva. Or stam, according to Rabbi Akiva, you wouldn't even have to be mafarish, because Rabbi Akiva says, Yichayiv b'kol shehu. And guys, we're only mushba in Omer Me'as Sinai in a full kazayis. So here you don't have a full kazayis. The male of the shvua would be chal. So that's the pshat in the teretz. Guys, let's go back. What's the kasha, what's the teretz? The kasha is, the Reisha says, if you make a shvua not to eat, and if you eat something that's not right to be eaten, you're potter, such as shkatzim ramashim. The Sefer says you make a shvua not to eat shkatzim ramashim yichayev. What's the difference? The Reish is stam, the Sefer is mafarish. If you're mafarish, it still doesn't help because you mushba b'harmei Sinai. It says the Gemara, I'll go ahead and deal with mushba b'harmei Sinai in two ways. Like Reb Yochanan, I'll subvert it using the concept of Issachaylo. So since I added to shkatzim ramashim shchutois, bibaltet schal and shchutois, schal and shkatzim ramashim. Well, like Rabbi Shlakish, it's not Issachaylo. It's speaking about Chatzi Shear, which is not Mushba v'Ayin Me'as Sinai, because Chatzi Shear is the Rabbanon. So that Mefarish is, according to Chachamim, you Mefarish Chatzi Shear. According to Reish Lakish, according to Rabbi Akiva, you didn't have to Mefarish, because the Shu is Chayiv b'Chol Shu, Kol Shu is less Chatzi Shear, and therefore you would be what? Chayiv on the Shvua. That's the teretz. Dama Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion the Adam Oisratz my bechol shehu. 4 lines from the bottom. Bishleim Rabbi Yochanan lo'yam Reish Lakish. Bishleim Rabbi Yochanan who said it's Issachaylo. He didn't want to come up to Reish Lakish's teretz l'chatzi shear. The mukim l'mas nison kidivrei hakol. Right? He says what the Mishnah is according what to everybody. You know it's like Reish Lakish. You have to come onto this Torah. Yeah. You know you have to come onto this Torah of. Rabbi Akiva is Stam, and the Rabbanan is this. I'm bothered by Akasha. I guess I should have asked this before. Rabbi Yochanan could not hold like Reish Lakish, fellas. Rabbi Yochanan holds Chatzi Shir Asa Deraisa. So you mush b'vayim and Sinai Chatzi Shir. We're invited to get back to this. Tosfos addresses it. Okay, guys. So just for Daf Yomi purposes. Rabbi Yochanan does not want to get into, he wants a clear-cut din. You know, he doesn't want to say stam according to Rabbi Akiva and mefarish according to, by saying it's a kailo, it's clean-cut. You're not entering any different shitas, different machlokes. So Bishleim, like Rabbi Yochanan, Le'yam Reish Lakish, the Mukil al-Masis and K'div Yakol, El Reish Lakish, my time will learn Rabbi Yochanan. What did Reish Lakish like about Rabbi Yochanan's teretz? Reish Lakish is nichlis into the machlokes Rabbi Akiva and the Chachamim. What did he not like about the teretz of Rabbi Yochanan? Amalach ki aminan Issachaylo amid aleph. When do we say Issachaylo? Be'issa haba me'elav. Be'issa haba al yidei atzmai lo yaminan. Okay. When do we say Issachaylo? The following: are you allowed to eat on Yom Kippur? No. Are you allowed to eat nevela? No. Are you allowed to, if you would eat nevela on Yom Kippur, would it be over 2 Isurim, nevela and Yom Kippur, or would you only be over one on a nevela? If you hold Ein Issa Chalal Issa, you'd only be over on Nevela. You won't be over on Yom Kippur. Now, Lacher is you're over on both. Why? Because since when Yom Kippur comes, you're now usher on all foods in the world. Koilal, all foods in the world is Nevela. Just like Yom Kippur comes and you're usher on all foods, you're also usher on that. That Issa wasn't created by you. That Issa came in Mela. That's when you say Issa Koilal. However, in this case over here, if you're going to make a shvua not to eat nevela and not to eat shchutos, you're the one creating the issa. You're the one saying, I won't eat shchutos. Then we don't say issa koilel. So that's what Reish Lakish did not like about the Teretz of Rabbi Yochanan. When do we say issa koilel? That's by issa b'me'elav. Yom Kippur comes, and now nevela, the issa of Yom Kippur would be chal on nevela. It came automatically. But when that came through a shvua, where you went and created a shvua on shchutos, and as a result, you're koilel with that nevela, it's lo yaminon. Therefore, you had to come on to what? The teretz of Chatzi Shir. Now, Bishleim Reish Lakish Mishum Hachi Kapata Reb Shimon. This is why Reb Shimon says you parted the Tanya. Reb Shimon Oimer Kol Shul Malkus V'Yomer Kazayas El Korban. Now, according, we had the Mishnah in Makis that the only reason you have the share of Kazayas is for a Korban, but a Kol Shuhuat would be what? Would be Asa. So you know why Reb Shimon says you parted? Because you mushba v'oimen Sinai. Guys, it's geschmack. I hold it's the Rabbanon. Therefore, I can say mushba. I can give you the teretz on Chatzi Shir. Reb Shimon, guys, cannot give you the teretz on Chatzi Shir because he holds Chatzi Shir is asa midaraisa. And therefore, if a person would swear not to eat a Chatzi Shir of nevela, it wouldn't be chal. You're mushba v'oimen Sinai. So therefore, in the Mishnah, when Shimon said, if you make a shvua not to eat nevelas and trefish, katzim ramashim, you potter. The reason you potter is there's no shvua. The shvua wasn't chal because he holds chatzi shir is asa because he holds it's a kol shehu. So loy reish lakish, it makes sense why you potter. Again, in the Mishnah, this din is katzim ramashim. The Chachamim said yechayev, Rav Shimon said you potter. So why did the Chacham say yechayev? I mushba v'oimin b'asinai. It's speaking about chatzi shir. Chatzi shir says Reish Lakish is the Rabbanon. So the shvua is chal. If it's chal, you're over on the shvua by eating nevela. Rav Shimon says you potter. Like Reish Lakish, I can explain why Rav Shimon says you potter. Very geschmack. You know why you potter? Because Rav Shimon holds that if you would eat a kol shehu, you'd be chayiv deraisa. The mele, if you chayiv deraisa, I'm mushba oimin v'arsinai on that little amount. The mele, my second shvua is not chal. But like Rabbi Yochanan, who says it's just a kailo, why would Rabbi Yochanan hold you? Why would Rabbi Yochanan hold you pata? Why would Shimon pata? So Bishlema, according to Reish Lakish, who says that it's the Chatzi Shir. We understand why Rabbi Shimon says you pata. The Tanya Rabbi Shimon Oimer kol shu lemakis, to get makis to be over the issa deraisa is even a kol shu Chatzi Shir. V'loyam kazayis el carbon. El Rabbi Yochanan, my time the Rabbi Shimon the pata. That's the reason. Midi hu taime el mishum issa koilel. Rabbi Shimon letamei. Rabbi Shimon goes according to his reasoning. The less late is the koilel. Rabbi Shimon does not hold of issa koilel. How do you know that? The Tanya Rabbi Shimon oimer oich nevela b'yom kippur pata. Guys, you eat nevela yom kippur you pata. Why you pata? You pata from Yom Kippur. Why? Because we don't say issa koilel. We don't say just because you're also on every other food on Yom Kippur, you're also on this as well. Just have to. Okay, now we're going to now the Gemara is going to further question the shittas of Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. We know the Isser guys of Shevuous B'tov lahara or lahetiv. Lahara is to do bad, not to eat. Lahetiv, to do good, to eat. Okay, and then we said past up, Shein Arba, past tense, Rabbi Akiva, not Rabbi Shmuel. There's another aspect of the Lahara Lahetiv, is that every shvu expressed has to be able in the positive and in the negative. I'll eat. I won't eat. I'll eat. I won't eat. In order, since the formula that's of Shevuous B'tov is the pasuk in the Torah and Vayikra Hey, Shevuous B'tov, Lahara Lahetiv, I have to need the capacity. It should be positive and it should be negative, right? It has to be positive and it should be negative. So we have a problem over here. We have a problem over here with the following. Says the Gemara. Bishlem Reish Lakish Mishkachas La Belav Vehain. Bishlem Reish Lakish, you can find it says it's speaking about Chatzi Shir, you can find it in the negative, in the positive, right? I make a shua to eat Chatzi Shir, I make a shua not to eat Chatzi Shir. Good? That makes sense. You could do both. El Rabbi Yochanan, Bishlem Elav, not to eat Nevelis and Trefis, Mishkachas La. Elahain, to eat Nevelis and Trefis. How do you go ahead and find that? It doesn't work, right? You can't go ahead and swear to me Mevatel mitzvah. Guys, you can't swear to me Mevatel mitzvah. So, taking on this new aspect of the formula of Shevuous Bitoy, that it exists the need to be able to formulate the Shua in a negative way and a positive way, I got a problem with Rabbi Yochanan's teretz that he gave earlier. Again, what was Rabbi Yochanan's teretz? It's speaking, when it says Mefirish, it's speaking that what you said, not only am I usher on Veil and Treifa, I'm also usher on Shchutais. Good? So let's express it. Bishleim to say, I won't eat Nevelis and Treifis or Shchutais, that's great. To say, I will eat Nevelis and Treifis and Shchutais is not great. Therefore, it should not be a good shvua because it doesn't fit the formula of lahara lahativ. Loy Reish Lakish, I fit the formula. I won't eat chatzi shir. I will eat chatzi shir because chatzi shir is the rabbanon. Mevela, I'm not swearing to you mevatel mitzvah. But in the positive state, if you're going to state, I'm making shvua to eat nevelis and treifis, you can't do that. Memela, I have a problem with Rav Yochanan's explanation. It doesn't fit the formula of the positive in the necessity of lahara lahativ to be able to be expressed both in the negative and in the positive. Guys, you good? Okay. So Bishleim el Reish Lakish Mishkachas La Belav Vehain. El Rabbi Yochanan Bishleim Elav Mishkachas La. El Vehain Hechi Mishkachas La. You can make a shua wat to go ahead. So now the Gemara is going to do a full turn. Fellas, what was the teretz? Let's go back in time. Let's eye contact, go back in time. How did we get into this? Again, following the trail. The Mishnah said a person makes a shua not to eat. If he eats nevelis and treifis, he's pata. A person says makes a shua not to eat. The first one, not to eat things that are not normally eaten, right? That needs pata. The second one says, eat nevelis and treifis, you're chayiv, and Rav Shimon says you're pata. We explained it by saying this is speaking stam, and this is speaking mefarish. We got a problem. If it's speaking mefarish the way Rabbi Yochanan explained it, we don't have it in the hain. Again, how do you explain it? He explained it with the Sekoilo. What was the Sekoilo? The Sekoilo was that if I won't eat nevelis and treifis, I won't eat shchutais. So since it's chal and shchutais, it's chal and nevelis and treifis. That works. But now I need the hain that what? I will eat shchutais. I will eat nevelis and treifis. That doesn't work. So now, because of that, we're going ahead and getting rid of that teretz, and we're back to the original question. How do you answer the beginning of the Gemara, Hagufa Kasha? On one hand, you tell me you're pata from eating nevelis and treifis. On the other hand, you say you're chayiv. So we're back to first base. Okay, so says Rob, they're both speaking stam, fellas. There's no mefarish over here. So, Ella kidarava, damarava, shvua shloi oichel v'ochel afa potter. You make a shvua not to eat, and you eat afa your potter. Let's see Rashi. Hachi gasinin, Ella kidarava, v'loi goris mishkachas la kidarava, v'hachi perushai. Loi tishani le'el. Don't give the teretz before kushya dereisha v'seifa kan b'stam kan mefarish. The way I just explained it to you, right? That you're giving a teretz to explain the reisha and the seifa. Elakula b'stam. The whole Mishnah is speaking where you didn't say anything. For oichlin shein ruil achila that we thought the ketani reisha pata. Guys, what was our assumption? Guys, our assumption was when you oichel that's not roy to eat, it meant halachically not roy to eat, not physically not roy to eat. You could eat McDonald's, not because it's not physically able to eat McDonald's, because halachically you can eat McDonald's, but you can't eat wood. You can't eat what? Afar. So now we're switching gears. The whole question was predicated upon learning that what things that are not roy to be eaten is halachically not roy to be eaten. What about if it's things that are not physically roy to be eaten? If it's not a steer at all. So continues Rashi. The Tani Reisha Pata Kidarava Mefarsha. Explain it like Rava. Kigain Afar. She'ein roy lachila. Am levelis roy lachila. Minatayra. Hein. They're roy to be eaten. But Aryehu deravi alayhu. That was Lashon the Gemara. And a lion was placed on top of it. Pirish. The lion, the Torah, placed on top of it in Nissa. V'sulei kashemidi. L'Rabbi Yochanan. The mishkachas la b'la you find it la v'hein, right? I will eat, right? Ve'af b'shir sholem. The loy oichel stam kamar. Im ochel nevela chayiv. Shari klal kol b'stamai. Devarim amutarim. V'asurim. Umitzri asurim al yedei koilo. V'hein mishkachas la. The oichel stam kamar. He said, I will eat, I won't eat. U'mekayim shvuas le b'dvarim hamutarim. Right? And you mekayim shvua by things that are mutter to eat. And if you don't eat, you be chayiv. So a whole different teretz now. What's that teretz? Teretz is kshmak. You wanted to say that what? You wanted to say it's both being stam. You had a problem. The reisha is mashma. It's part of eating shkotzim ramashim. Sefer says a chayiv. No. You can never eat shkotzim. You're always chayiv eating shkotzim ramashim. You always have on Yeshua. We always are in shua. Why? It's in this koil because we said when you stop, I'm going to eat. I mean, I'm going to eat everything, included in that is that. So therefore, it's available in the lava hain. I eat, I won't eat. I included in that is what? Again, but I didn't state it. I didn't state it openly. It was said in B'derech Klal. And the kash is not really a kash in the first place. Why? Because the Reisha was speaking about eating dirt, eating wood, eating lead, eating metal. It wasn't speaking about eating shkatz and masham. The mela is very geshmak. So Issa Koilol is the reason why it's speaking stam. It's not speaking mefarish. And now I'm not speaking out the hain. I will eat shkatz and masham. Since it's stam, I will eat period, or I won't eat period. Therefore, it's possible in the realm of hain v'lav, and we have a teretz to the kasha. The teretz to the kasha is guys is nishkan kasha. The teretz to the kasha is not a kasha. Why? Because the Reisha was not speaking about shkatz and ramashim. The Reisha was speaking about afar, was speaking about dirt. It wasn't speaking about that at all. Right. Amarav Mari Afananami Tanina. Right. Afanat Rav Mari says what? Also the nevelis royis lachila. That nevelis roy lachila. Okay, want to bring a raya that nevelis roy lachila, as opposed to what we thought initially. Coin the list part of the Mishnah. Koinim ishti nenes li imachalti ayoim. Anything my wife, and if I ate something today, if I ate something today, my wife is also to have enough from me like a carbon. The ochel neveil setrefish kotzim ramashim, and he had eaten in McDonald's. Hariyishtei asuraloi. So what do you see? That the McDonald's was quick enough. Neveil strefis. McDonald's is what is something that's it's mutter, not chas v'shalom. It's something that's considered a barachila. It's a barachila. It's not what. It's not something that's not considerable. So again, the switcheroo that we made was very geshmak. Initially, we said the varim that you can't eat meant I can't eat halachically, and the teretz says no. We're speaking about things that you can't eat physically, but in nachanami things you could eat. What things that you could eat? Like Reish Lakish is what is speaking chatzi shir. That's why you chayiv, and like Rabbi and Reb Shimon Yipata, and because you mushrav oimid, and like Rabbi Yochanan, you'll be chayiv al yedei yisrael. How are we doing? Good. Okay. Says the Gemara Haki Hashta. You have no raya. You have this raya. You want to be from the woman that you ate already. Shkatzim Mamashim is considered a barachila. Is not nishkan raya. Hasam kivin the meikara achol. Since initially you ate it, guys, the case is past tense. If I ate today, my wife's also to me. Not if I will. Achalti. It's past tense. Good. So you want to bring a raya that these things are a barachila. Maybe you don't have a raya. Since he said it meikara and he ate it and they ate it already. V'hodish tabalei amid beis chashive achshave. Ken zayin, fellas, that McDonald's is not roy lachila. This person, since he said it, was machshavit, and therefore In other words, your raya, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm disagreeing with your raya. The raya you want to bring, the fact that this guy ate it, right? Because he said, I ate today. If I ate today, my wife's also to me. He did eat today. He ate. His saying I ate today is machshav McDonald's. But stamazoi, maybe McDonald's is not something royal achila. So you have no raya from what? From this particular instance. Elohacha mi achshave, but over here, what? Elohacha stamazoi, a person makes a shua not to eat. Was he machshav it? Not. Amarav, my time in the man the isla yisa kailo. Okay, what's the reason the man has an isla kailo? Okay, let's just let's discuss Issa Moisef Issa Koil. It's a very, very long Rashi over here. So Issa Koil, I think you have, right? Issa Koil, you have that something is usher. It's you incorporate it in something that's mutter, and it comes along for the ride. It gets schlepped along. That's Issa Koil. There is something called Issa Moisef. Let's do Rashi. I always like Lashon Rashi. Fellas, if you look, the Gemara, you see the Tosfos, Omru loy einam in Hashem. See the Tosfos, like a fourth Tosfos down? If you parallel that across to Rashi and go up one line, you'll see the word Issa Moisef. Parallel that Tosfos, go across the Gemara, the great divide, and go to Rashi, and you'll see the Lashon what Issa Moisef. Good? And you see the Lashon of Issa Moisef. Okay, Reb Nassim, we're holding on the Amid Beis, and we want to know where Issa Koil from. So we're saying maybe it's like Issa Moisef. We're doing Rashi Issa Moisef. Nassim, look at the Amid Beis, the fourth Tosfos down. Amruloi, Einam in Hashem, you got it? Go across to Rashi, one line up. Go across to Rashi, one line up. Issa Moisef. Guys, here's Issa Moisef. Kishe Issa Achroin, Moisef al Chaticha Atzma Dava Shlahoyaba Ayde Isser Rishon. The new Isser adds on something that wasn't there before. For Isa Ha'achroin Hachaticha Bima Shahoysa Muteres Koidim. And it's going to ask us something that was there before. Sheba Isa Achroin Kigoin. For example, guys, Chelev Shel Kodesh. Now, guys, can you eat Chelev? No, Chelev is also Issakaris. Now, if you're magdish a carbon, now there's a second issa. What's that issa? Issa kodesh. Asa lechol mishum chelev umuta legavoya lemizbeach. And at this point in time, you can go ahead and bring it as a carbon. So, guys, when you can't eat chelev, it's asar, but Hashem could eat it. Hashem could eat it. The imurim, the parts that go to Hashem of a carbon, the imurim, chelev is mutter to Hashem. Good. What happens if you leave out that imurim overnight? Nase noiser. Let's say it becomes noiser. Moisef olav iser. L'masha hoysem muteres loy. Now it adds on an issa that wasn't there before. The nifsa lakrava. No, now you can't bring it as a carbon. For hachi aminan. Mitoich shechal lo shem noiser lo oisra alam izbeach. Now that you added on an issa noiser that you can't bring it on mizbeach anymore, ve'ein issa harisha ma'akev al yodai milachol, and the first issa is not stopping it from being chal. The issa chelev is not stopping it from being chal. Shein ze issa chal al issa. It's not issa chal al issa because it's two separate isurim. Chal aleh nami issa shem noiser eitzel kol adam ha'oichloi l'schayev aleh mishum chelev u'mishum noiser. Afa b'shi yesh kan issa chal al issa. Oh, guys, geschmack. You have a carbon. In the carbon there is chelev. Chelev is the part that's going to go to Hashem. So right now it's asa to you as chelev, and it's mutter to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You leave it out overnight, and now you cannot longer bring it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's nicer. It's asa lahakrava. So there's no issa chalal issa le'inyan Hashem. You only create an issa. Chelev is mutter to Hashem, correct? Chelev is mutter to Hashem. As soon as it becomes nicer, it's now asa to Hashem. Since now a new issa is created, it's moisif on a previous issa that was. What was that previous issa? The din of chaylev to a regular Joe. A regular Joe could not eat it because it's chaylev. The regular Joe now has an additional issa. In addition to the isser of chaylev, it's moisif, it's chal, the issawat of nicer. So you'd be chayiv twice if you ate it. You'd be chayiv for eating chaylev, and you'd be chayiv for eating nicer. So vis-a-vis the individual, it is issa chal alissa. I have the isser of nicer being chal on the isser of chaylev. But how did it come about? It came about through ahisafa, right? I was moisif on a previous issa, right? I was moisif on a previous issa. This would be a case of issa moisif. I gave another example of issa moisif yesterday. Let's say a woman's asa, I'll say shasish, and then all of a sudden, she becomes your mother-in-law, right? Now she's moisif issa mother-in-law. That's moisif. You're moisif on issa, right? It goes from chenek to sreifa. So that's also an issa moisif. So why is issa chal issa by kailol? Because maybe it's like issa moisif. Now issa moisif seems to be a much more clear-cut, understandable why it works. Issa kailol is less, because we saw that Rabbi Shimon does not hold of issa kailol. It seems everyone holds of issa moisif. So back in the Gemara now. Amarava. My time in demand is issa kailol. Rabbi Yochanan brought in the one who holds issa kailol. Midi dehavia issa moisif. Perhaps it's like issa moisif. Uman de pata, the lesle, kiyama issa moisif b'chod chaticha. When do we say issa moisif? That's in one chaticha. Guys, we have one chaylev over here. This chaylev became nicer. We have one chaticha, this chaylev came nicer. B'shtei chatichas lo yamrinan. But two chatichas, to say in shchutais, guys, to say in shchutais and nevelos, in two chatichas, we're not going to say it. B'shtei chatichas, we won't say it. We won't say it, okay? That's the reason why a person would not say issa kailol. When you say issa moisif, one, and so therefore, if you're not going to say issa moisif in two chatichas, you won't say issa kailol. V'amar Rava l'man issa kailol, the following: Amar shvuah shloi oichel teinim. You make a shvuah not to eat teinim. Because of Amar shvuah shloi oichel teinim ve'anovim. So you said a shvuah not to eat figs. Then you made a second shvuah not to eat figs and dates. Migu dechal anovim. Since it's chal on the grapes, chal nami ateinim. It's chal also on figs. Previously what? You were also on figs? No. But this is what? Bikail. Pshita ma'adatema issa haba me'elav aminon. Issa haba me'atzma lo yaminon. I might think an issa that comes automatically like Yom Kippur or like Noiser comes by itself, aminon. But midi that what? Does not come, something that does not come automatically. It comes al yedei atzma lo yaminon. Therefore what? Therefore, you would say it. So again, the man the Omar, the reason it is Issa Koilel, of course, it's similar to Issa Moisif. The one who says it's Pata, we only say Issa Moisif by one Chaticha. We don't say what by two Chatichas. You want to say two Chatichas. You want to say the Shchutos and the Nevelos. We only say it in one Chaticha. Now, Rabbi is saying, the one who says Issa Koilel, the one who says Issa Koilel, we even say it one that you created by yourself. You might think Issa Koilel is only that comes by itself. For example, Yom Kippur comes by itself, and automatically, since I'm asa to eat all other foods, I'm asa to eat nevela. That's right. That's Issa Koilel. I'm asa on all the foods. I'm asa on nevela as well. But that Issa came automatically. I had nothing to do with it. God did. He made the 10th day of Tishrei, Yom Kippur. So I might think you only say Issa Koilel over that. Kimash Malon Rava. If I'm asa on te'enim I'm also on te'enim from a shvuah, and then in the second shvuah I add on anavim, even though I'm the one that's creating the iser, you'd say it's a koilel there as well. You would say it's a koilel there as well. Okay, Massiv Rava, Berei the Rabba.
Why isn't that like the idea of the gavra and the cheftza? Like one's an isa gavra, one's an isa cheftza. Isn't that the same idea?
I don't understand what are you asking.
In other words, when I say that's us, the chaylev is asa to me, that would be the cheftza is asa to me. When I make a shvuah, that I can't eat tainim, that's a gavra.
It does make a difference. You make a shvuah. You're making a shvua. We're making a shvua. It's one's a neder, one's a shvua. But it's not. If it's chal, it's chal.
It doesn't fall into that at all.
Again, it's no nafka. I'm saying one you're making a neder, one you're making a shvua.
Okay.
We're dealing with the shvua part.
Okay.
Must have prayed the Rabbi, right? That you said Issa is chal even on an Issa that you created, right? We're asking on that. Guys, Rabbi just said an Issa that you created. You created Issa on figs. And you want to say an Issa koil of figs and grapes, right? Guys, figs and grapes. You say that when you created the Issa, you're going to say Issa koil. That's what we're asking on. Must have Rabbi prayed the Rabbi, right? Yesh oichel achila achas. You can eat one achila. V'chayev aleha, and you can be chayev on it. Arba chatois v'asham echad. You can be chayev 4 chatas and 1 asham. Guys, asham is always in the realm of me'ila usually. Again, you think, just again, in learning, think about ashamas. Asham shifra charufa, no shayches. Asham nazir, no shayches. Asham mitzayra, no shayches. Asham gezelos, shayches, but only if it's gazela. So anytime you say comes to the word asham, it's going to be asham ilis. Got you know, understand? It's going to be asham ilis by automatically, and a chatis is going to be a chi of karis. So now we have a count over here: 4 chatis, 1 asham. Let's make the count. Yesh oichel achila achas v'chayv la arba chatois v'asham echad ve'elu hein tamei. He was tamei. Sh'achal chaylev. Okay, right now I only have 1 issa, the issa chaylev. For who noiser, that's a 2nd chatos. Mino mukdashim. Now I have a 3rd chatos for a tamei eating kodesh. I have an asham from having hana. B'yom kippur. There's your 4th chatos. One more time, guys. One more time. You're tamei. I ate chaylev. That tummy has nothing to do with the chaylev. That's 1 chatas feeding chaylev. Nicer, tummy has nothing to do with nicer. I'm eating nicer is what? Is the 2nd chi of chatas. Mina mukdashim. Oh, geschmack. I'm tamei. I'm eating kodesh. Right? There's my oil of yared. Yeah, chatas. In addition, you're having enough from hegdish. There's your asham. And here's your 4th chatas. B'yom kippur. You're eating yom kippur geschmack. Right? So we have 4. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead now, based upon what Rabbi said, that an Issa Koilel would be, if you create it by yourself, let's add on some more chiyuvim. That's the rest of the flow of the Gemara, guys. You got? We're going to try to add onto this case more chiyuvim based upon the concept that I'm able to create more Isurim. Okay. Remeya Oimer, Afim Hoysa Shabbos, V'Hoytzi Chayev. It's Shabbos and you take it out to eat. So there's a 5th chatas. And we're talking about eating. We're not talking about another something else. This is all Yidei eating. Ve'im Isa, and if you're telling me that when you create the Isser, is through Isser Koilo, you chayev, right? Mishkachas lachamesh, a 5th chatas, kigoin, shama shvua, shlei oichel tamarim, v'chelev, right? And migu de chala tamarim, chal nami achelev. You Rava told me through Issa Koilel that you create Al Yedei Atzmai. What was the raya, guys? Figs, grapes. So over here, make figs fat. Figs chaylev. Ella, when you didn't, the Mishnah did not bring it. It must be. It ain't so, guys. That's your kasha on Rava. Geschmack is anything. And for the Gemara, kikatani Issa habame elav, Issa habame atzma katani. You're right. No, ein achinami. It would be. I could have a 5th, but I'm not speaking in that genre. I'm not speaking in the case of what a issa that comes by itself. But I'm only speaking about issa that comes by itself. I'm not speaking about an issa that you create. All these cases, what? Let's look over the cases, right? Until you get to kodesh is a problem, right? Kodesh, you made a kodesh. So that's okay. Now, Bahari Hegdish. Guys, look at the case. You're Tameh, you ate chaylev. Does chaylev come automatically? Let's get bobblehead. Chaylev come automatically? Yeah, it's chaylev. He was born chaylev, it is chaylev, it is. I tell you, it's a shtick. Chaylev. Nicer comes automatically? Yep. Mukdashim. How does something become hegdish? Through yourself. So how can you give a teretz, fellas? You're only speaking about what? Kodesh that comes automatically and not something you create, and therefore you don't want to go ahead and say the case of what? I said I'm not going to eat the dates and the chaylev. You got a problem. That teretz doesn't wash. Because how did this thing become kodesh?
Isn't also the same thing? You had to not be makriv on time.
It doesn't make a difference. It happened automatically. The Isser of Noiser happened. I put into effect something by when I was magdish the animal, and as an animal, but once it's an animal, it's Noiser. I didn't go ahead. Once it's Kedish, it's Noiser. But the act of making it Hegdish, you're in second base. I want by first base. Now, Mina Mukdashim, right? Mina Mukdashim, says the Gemara, 1 second. V'hari Hegdish, and for the Gemara, Bib B'char, Diktudash Mirechem. You know how this animal became Kodesh, fellas? It was born. It was automatic. Therefore, we can't bring in the case of dates and chaylev, because we're only speaking about automatic, not one that you created. I'll say Hegdish, we're speaking about B'char that automatically is Kodesh. Iba Yisayim, another teretz. Why didn't we go ahead? If Rav is correct that you can create Al Yedei Atzmai, why didn't Rav go ahead and consider a case of Tamarim and Chaylev? Midi the Lesle She'ela, we learned only something you can't take off. Sure, this Le She'ela like a tani. We know, guys, you can be made for a neder. By Shvua, it's called Shoyl, it can be Shoyl B'Shvua. So we didn't, in Achinami, it would work. But the reason why we only gave a number 4, not a number 5, we're not considering things you could take off. Fred the Gemara Hari Hegdish, it could be Shoyl Behegdish. That's the answer. He said it's speaking about a Bechar. So, and Bechar you can't take off. So we have 2 tuitzim to the Kasha. What's the Kasha? Nachamo, guys, eye contact. Nachamo. What's you Rava say that you Issachayil, Me'atzmoi would work? I would see a case of here, a Mishnah increases. You only have 4 chatois. According to you, we should have a 5th chatois. We should have a case where you said, I'm also to eat, make a neder not to eat tomorrow and chaylev, and you should add a shul onto the chaylev, and you have a 5th one. One teretz is we're only speaking about something that comes automatically, not something that you make. A second teretz is we're only speaking about something that you can't take off, and therefore, since you could take off your shvua, we don't consider it. A third teretz, ibay sema, kikatani, carbon kavua, carbon oil like katani. What are you going to get, guys? If you make a shvua not to eat dates and chaylev, and you eat the chaylev, what's the chi of shvua? Shvua is bitoy. That's an oil v'yoyred. That's one that's a chatos that depends upon your monetary situation. When we said 4 chatois, we want 4 chatois that are kavua. That, you know what? Set. Doesn't depend upon anything. You don't got any money, go out and you want a kapara, go out and work and make some money to buy this sheep. So we're only considering that. Says the Gemara, Hari Tomi Shachas HaKodesh, the carbon oil of Yared who? Gavaldig Akasha. One of the chatas you considered was Tomei that ate kachim. Guys, this is the beginning of Amasechta. A Tomei that eats kachim is oil of Yared. So what kind of teretz is that? And for the Gemara, bin Nasi. It's speaking about a Nasi who ate it. He was Tamei, and the Nasi ate it. Rabbi Lezi, Domar, Nasi, maybe Seir. A Nasi who eats Tamei, eats Kaidish, brings a Seir, a set amount. He's not oil of Yored. So we have a new Kimta. Oil of Yored. Okay, so how many terutzim do we have? We have one teretz that it's not speaking about only things that happen automatically. A second teretz speaking about things you can't take off. And a third teretz only speaking about chatas kavua. A fourth teretz. Rav Ashi Yoma kikatani midi dechal kishir shvua. The chal apachas megashir like katani, right? Rav Ashi kikatani midi dechali kishir. Stop. Kishir, comma. Shvua the chal apachas megashir like katani. Shitas Rabbi Akiva, guys. Shitas Rabbi Akiva. It's speaking what? Shvua yichay b'kol shu. You know why we didn't consider a shvua as a 5th chatas? Because we want to speak something that you need kazayas for, not less. Fred the Gemara, Hari Hegdish. L'chari Hegdish can be chayav kol shehu. Says Habinum Shavapruta. Hegdish also has a share. It's a share in value rather than a share in eating. Rav Ashi, that's the name of Me'av. What's the name of Rio? What's the name of this place? Rav Ashi Me'avira Omar. It's the name of a place. Omar Reb Zera Kikatani Zidoinai Karis Zidoinai Lav like Katani. If you all these cases, fellas, if you did on purpose, you'd be chayiv karis. All these cases, the 5 chatois, guys, you'd all be chayiv. Let's go through each one. If you're eating chaylev, chayiv karis, guys, chayiv karis. You eat noisa, chayiv karis. You eat yatame and you eat hegdish, chayiv karis. Yom Kippur, you eat on Yom Kippur, chayiv karis. You're over on your lav. Eat chiv karis? No. There you go. That's why you didn't consider it. Geshmak. Every one of these terraces is geshmak. You're making distinctions, each one. Says the Gemara, Vashim Avira, Amar Zera, Kikatani, the 5 chatois, the 4 is Daini karis. The Daini lav, like Katani. Third Gemara, Vari, Asham, this is a Daini lav, the Katani. You considered what? The Asham. The Asham. You get an Asham for being Moel Behegdish. There's no chorus there, and for the Gemara, mechatas kamina. We weren't discussing the asham. We're discussing the 4 chatois. Ravina Amar, another teretz is mamish geshmak. Each teretz one's more geshmak than the next. Ravina Amar kikatani midi dechal amidi de barachilahu. Shvua dechal amidi la barachilahu loikatani. We're only speaking about things that can be chal on something you can eat. But a shvua that can be chal on something that you can't eat, we didn't consider. Hegdish schal nami eitzen v'avonim. Hegdish schal and eitzen v'avonim. El kikatani. What does he mean? The chal amidi de isbe mashasha, something that has tangibility to it. Shvua the chal amidi de lesbe mashasha. Shvua that can be chal. Guys, can you make a shvua not to sleep? Yeah. Is it chal? Yeah. And v'loike miyad because you have to sleep, but it's chal. So the teretz. All these things that we considered are something that is on a tangible thing, foods, things, tangibility. But the reason we didn't consider shua because shua is something that's not tangible.
But on all those things we considered, is there a question of amount on shear, or all the same? It's all the same. Whether you eat the chachi shear, or you eat the kazayas, it's all the same.
We gave a teretz that we only considered something that's a shear. Shua is chal and less than a shear. We gave a teretz hesh.
Okay, so all of those things we said, it doesn't make a difference. On Yom Kippur, if you
no, the shear could be different as long as there's a shear.
Okay, as long as there's a shear, it doesn't make a difference. Some have less shear, some have more shear.
Yom Kippur, the shear is kaiseves. It's a large amount.
Right.
Okay. Shua the chal amidid the isha and shleisha and I'll sleep. I won't sleep like a tani. Okay, so let's go through. Let's chazer riba. Let's chazer riba. Okay, we have a kash. Rava said it then. Said Rava through issa koilo al yidei atzmo. I can go ahead and make. I can go ahead and say the following: a shua that he won't eat figs. I can make a shua not to eat figs and grapes, and since it was schal on the grapes, it's schal's second shvua on the figs. That's what he said. The Gemara then questioned that by bringing in a Mishnah increases. The Mishnah increases said it's possible to be over a case where you go ahead and you can get 4 chatas and 1 asham. Your tameh, you eat chaylev, 1 nicer 2 mukdashim is an asham, and your tameh is a chatas, and it's Yom Kippur as a 4th one. Fred the Gemara, if you say that you can make an isser al yedi asma isser koilo, so make a shvua not to eat figs, not to eat dates, and not to eat chaylev. And therefore, not only if I eat chaylev will I have an issa what of karis, I'll have an issa of shua, and therefore you'll have what a 5th asham and a 5th chatas, and it's a chatas oil v'yoyri. Okay, so the Gemara now goes in to answer that kasha, guys. All we're doing is answer a lamdish kasha. Why, according to Rabbi, don't you have a 5th chatas? We have a whole smorgasbord of answers. Okay, so let's go on through each one. Okay, that's the first answer. Was we were only speaking about issa that came automatically. We're not speaking about the issa that came out through what? Through do yourself. We're only discussing something you can't take off. A shvur that you could take off, we're not considering. We're only considering a carbon kavua. We're not considering an oil of yared. And a shvur is a carbon oil of yared. Right? we're only considering something that has a shear, but a shvua that doesn't have a shear, we're not considering. We're only considering something that is a chi of karis, and not something that's a chi of lav. We're only considering something that is on a mashis and shvua that doesn't a mashis. It can be chal on sleep. We're not considering.